Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Kirsty if you're new here, and in today's video I'm going to be chatting about what I wish I knew about fat loss. Now the reason why I wanted to be able to create this video is because there are so many people in this world who are embarking on a fat loss journey, and most people's approaches are going to be this: we're going to reduce the calories as much as we can, and we're going to over exercise a lot. We're going to try and stick to it as long as we can, and then fall off the bandwagon and go back to square one. And often this leaves people feeling defeated, like there is something wrong with them, and honestly deters them from going on another fat loss journey. I don't blame them, because that was me too at one point. I spent majority of my late teens to my early 20s doing things like skinny tea diets, doing starvation diets, taking pills that you can get from the supplement store to help me lose fat. I would just do things that was just not sustainable, right? Shakes, all that sort of stuff. And I wish someone just told me these things that I'm going to tell you in this video. So I hope you have a pen and paper, and let's get these things rolling. So number one is understanding balance. Now, a really big thing about understanding balance is that our body loves to stay at a state of balance. It's working every single second of every single day, even right now as I'm talking, to maintain balance as much as possible, right? The body doesn't like being outside of balance, right? If it does go out of balance, it sends all these things into a crazy, right? It's like, oh my God, quick, all hands on deck, we must restore balance as much as we can. And that also happens when we enter a fat loss phase. And the reason is because any time that there is a stressor placed on the body, it knocks us out of balance. And taking away food and adding in exercise is a stressor on the body. So the body's going to fight you back. So understanding balance is really important, because when we've got less food compared to the energy coming out, we're going to be in a negative energy balance. Now, the body does not like that. So understanding this point here is that, one, we do need to be in a negative energy balance to make any sort of changes in our body to signal, hey, we need to tap into the stores that we have on our body. But the right approach will determine, one, whether you can stick to it for a long time, two, whether you will shock the body and your mind into never wanting to do it again or not, and whether you will actually achieve your results and enjoy the journey or not. So understanding that is really, really important. The other key point when it comes to understanding balance is that we have a set point. So wherever you are at in your journey right now, even if it's not where you want to be, it is your comfortable set point. Your body does not want to change. So within that, something that's really important to note is that you don't want to go too hard too quick. We want to make sure that once we have this balanced set point, right? We are this set point of who we are right now. We want to gradually change the body and take a gradual approach that's going to tell the body, hey, we need to tap into those fat stores on our body, but then take time to rest and recover and create a new set point. And that's a big one, because if we just go and go and go and go and lose all this fat, but then we stop and the body's like, oh my God, I can't handle that. Most people have uncontrollable eating. They go back to square one. I often see this in sometimes with fitness competitors and stuff like that, because it's such an extreme to go to that the body wants to recompensate. And if you can't stay in control of it, it's not a fun journey. So we understand balance for one. Number two, we want to talk about the right approach. So the approach that I personally love to use is a balanced, healthy and mindful way. And the reason why I like to be able to do it in this way is that we focus on not having the same amount of calories every single day. We actually focus on having higher days and lower days. Now, one, the benefit of this is that it gives you a little bit more flexibility, right? You're already going to be eating lower calories anyways. You might as well have some higher days throughout the week, and on average, it gives you the same amount as if you were eating the same thing every single day. I personally really love that approach, because when you're in an energy deficit, when you're in the negative energy balance, your body is already being deprived, right? So for a couple of days, an extra 100 calories or so, well, in theory, depends on the individual, won't be too much of a challenge. However, if you maintain that low amount of energy intake coming in for a whole week, for weeks on end, because you want to do it for a while, because it takes a while to tap into fat, and it also takes a while to lose fat. It's important to note that if you are going to embark on a fat loss journey, you don't want to be eating, like your 15, 16, 1700 calories, the same thing every single day. You have no freedom, you have no flexibility. So personally, what I love to do is that once I find out my total daily energy expenditure and then I work out my deficit calories, so 400 to 500 calories off, I then work out, okay, 5 days that are lower, I just take 100 calories off those days, and then I add it to the other 2 days, which will be my higher days, and I split that in half. And this allows me to have 2 greater higher days, which is one, great for mental replenishment, but physical replenishment too. Often when we work out the calories, you can have them low enough to be induced in a deficit, but then have those days close to balance. Now, the reason why we want to be able to ensure that we can be close to balance when we have those higher days is that if we are at a state of balance, it resets the body, right? It gives the body enough nutrients coming in. It doesn't stress the body out too much, and it also prevents symptoms of RED-S, which is relative energy deficiency in sport. So if you're someone that's ever embarked on a fat loss journey before and maybe you've become super irritable, right? And then maybe you've been doing it for a while and you have like a sprained ankle or some ligament damage, or you start to feel really, really tired all the time, or you're not sleeping really well, or you lose your menstrual cycle or things like this. Like, these things are not normal. You can actually minimize the risk of this happening by doing higher and lower days and having those higher days come to more of a balanced state. So those lower days will be a little bit low, but those high days will be nice and replenishing. And it's very easy to maintain when you know that, okay, cool, I'm gonna have a higher day again soon. There's something that you can have in sight, right? It's not only just a physical change, but it's a psychological benefit knowing that you've got more food coming. Because often if we're embarking on a fat loss journey, the psychological side of things is feeling like, oh my God, it's gonna be so long till I get to eat properly again. And that doesn't feel good. So having the right approach is key. Now, the other point to having the right approach is ensuring that we're not just focusing on the calories coming in and going out, we're also focusing on the macronutrients that are coming in. And that leads me to number 3, eat nourishing foods. It is so important that if you want to transform your body, you're not just focusing on the calories. Calories will change your weight, macros will change your body. And that is so important to understand, because if we do the right approach, eating nourishing foods, making sure we've got enough proteins, fats, carbs, fiber, all those micronutrients coming in, we're going to feel so nourished, and we're going to be able to minimize any disruptions other than, obviously the fact that we're not giving the body enough energy for a while, to be able to minimize any long-term effects when it comes to going into a dieting phase, right? Because we want to minimize the amount of stress coming in the body. Also, by eating nourishing foods, you're going to feel more satiated. You're going to feel more nourished. You're going to feel amazing. You're going to feel like, you're going to feel so good. And also, you're going to stay fuller for longer, right? And I'll definitely do some other videos doing some comparisons in terms of like, what a 500 calorie meal could look like if it's packed full of nourishing foods compared to ultra packaged foods, right? Because you want to feel full, right? You don't have as much to eat. You might as well eat amazing foods that taste amazing. So you want to eat nourishing foods, and you also want to make sure they taste good, all right? Number 4, work with your mind and understand you. So this is a big one I wanted to be able to bring up, because when I embarked on a fat loss journey, right, a lot of things, you're going to get to know yourself. I feel like every time I ever embark on a fat loss journey, I feel like emotions come up, like limiting beliefs, like all of these sort of things. It's going to feel hard, right? There's going to be little voices in your head that's like, you know what, like, just don't even worry about it. Just get back on track tomorrow. Like, do you even really need to lose fat? Like, you look okay right now. Like, you got to look at why you want to do this and understand yourself, all right? So that really comes back to understanding why you want to lose fat in the first place, but understanding yourself at a deeper level. Because when you take time to journal and get to know yourself and understand yourself, then you're going to be able to work with yourself too. And this is also going to help you understand about food and nourishment and all these sort of things, right? Because there's going to be certain food triggers, emotional triggers, all that sort of stuff. But when you start to really understand yourself, then you're able to build out a life that you really love when it comes to your nutrition, and you're able to succeed towards your fat loss goals. Because if you've ever been someone that's like, I don't understand why I eat half a block of chocolate in the evenings, get to know yourself. There's going to be a reason, right? There's going to be a trigger throughout your day, throughout your week, maybe even it's habitual, whatever it might be. There is some sort of thing that leads you to that event. So it's about understanding the why, right? And just getting to know yourself with curiosity and compassion. Number 5 is enjoy the journey and enjoy achieving your goal. So one of the big mistakes that I made when I was embarking on my fat loss journey back in my late teens to my early 20s, well, it was about 1,000 fat loss journeys, I swear, because I kept starting and stopping, is that I didn't enjoy the journey. So there was actually a point where I achieved that goal weight. I got down to like 50 something kilos, right? And I think it's 53, pretty sure it's 53. But I got down to 53 kilos and I'm a tall woman, right? I am 171 centimeters tall, like 53 is quite thin. That's actually 10 kilos less than what my average weight should be, okay? For my age and my height. And I didn't enjoy the journey. So I actually pushed myself and I pushed myself and I pushed myself and I pushed myself and I kept going and going and going. And I remember I got onto that and I got to my goal weight and I stood on the scales and I was like, why don't I feel different? Why do I still feel like that really fat person that was 30 kilos heavier? Why do I still feel like that? And I didn't actually realize that I was also meant to enjoy the journey, enjoy the process, not, miss out on life and all that sort of stuff. Like, I'm meant to enjoy the process. So when I embarked on other fat loss journeys in the future, because mind you, I did that fat loss journey and I put it all back on, oh my God, no surprise there. I pushed myself hard for like a year and a half. Oh my God. But to lose around 30 kilos is pretty good. But not in that whole aspect. Wow, you can see the polarization. But I didn't enjoy that. But now in the future, I do. Like, I'm like, yes, I get to nourish my body. I get to see what I'm capable of. I get to see how my body changes. And I don't have to ever go without because I feel amazing. So that's really important, right? And also enjoy achieving your goal. Be so damn proud that you achieved it, right? Because it's hard. That was one thing. I didn't celebrate myself. I achieved it and then I was like, damn, okay, well, I'm not, and then I just never really celebrated. I was never like, let's go do a photo shoot, never let's go do this, like, let's wow, right? It was just like, I don't know what I was expecting, but I don't know what I was expecting, but I didn't get it, whatever I thought it might have been at the time. And number 6 is patience. Patience is definitely key. So when I first started my fat loss journeys back when I was younger, I wanted to lose fat like yesterday. I was like, I don't want to be this anymore. I want to lose fat now. And I want it done today. And the body don't work like that. So if you like try and starve yourself for a few days and you see like the scales go down, it's most likely just water weight or like things coming out of your digestive system. You might feel a little bit lighter, but it's not actually tapping into fat. So we want to make sure we have patience. It takes a while for the body to switch into fat burning mode, if we were to call it that. And that's essentially because the body's like, we're creating a new set point, all that sort of stuff. So by being able to have the right approach where you have higher days and lower days consistently on average over time, you're going to be in a deficit, but the body's not going to experience it as if you were just chronically eating at a low state. So that's actually going to allow you to have a lot more patience because you're not going to lose your sanity. And that's a really big one. If you've ever had that person that's like come into the office and they're like, don't talk to me, don't show me anything, I'm on a diet. Well, yeah, you don't have to be that person anymore if you have the right approach. You eat lots of nourishing foods and you work with your mind and get to understand yourself. It's a hard process, right? To make that switch though, I'm not going to lie, it is a bit of a tricky process, especially if you're someone who was like me, wanted something done yesterday and wants the results right now. To have patience, you must understand that things come with time, right? It didn't take you overnight to get to where you are. Why do you feel it would only take overnight to be able to reverse all of that as well? So I hope you enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed my little presentation. I can always elaborate, I can break down the right approach, I'll show you how to calculate it if you wish, all those sort of things. But if you want help with your fat loss journey, where you want to do it in a way where you never feel deprived, you feel amazing, you can still fit on those amazing foods. If you want to go out for a burger once a week, you can go out for a burger every single week while you're on a freaking fat loss phase. If you want to know how, let me teach you. And I'm always so welcoming to any sort of questions too. So you can pop them in the chat box below as well if you wish. But I hope you have the best day and I hope you enjoyed this video and lots of love. I'll see you guys in the next one.